Now, once you've got B1, biotin, and B6 all on board, the issue is then optimizing the dose. So while a lot of practitioners will recommend a really high dose, I tend to want to help people to find their sweet spot. And that may be higher or lower than other people's dose. A lot of my clients are on 5 to 10 milligrams of biotin as opposed to 30, 40 or more. While biotin has a good reputation for low toxicity, this can vary a lot. And as somebody myself who's taken really high dose biotin at one point, I noticed I only needed it for a short period of time. And then I noticed that I didn't feel good as I took the next dose in my day, for instance. So I got up as high as 80 milligrams of biotin. I was after knocking out candida at that point. I'd done really well with candida, but I'd started to show some signs of it after having to have impacted wisdoms out in my 50s. And so with that oral surgery, I was put on antibiotics, which I took because I didn't know better at that point that you can handle oral surgery with things like rinsing your mouth frequently enough with salt water. But be that as it may, I took the antibiotics and I did a lot better than usual. I did not have a vaginal yeast rebound after having the antibiotics. I didn't have any of the real obvious symptoms, but gradually over time, I was noticing a bit of, I'm going to say, like white on my tongue. And I didn't have a lot of symptoms from it, but I had that. And I went, I know what you are. So I started to do exactly the protocol that I usually recommend for anybody who's one of my clients. Really tiny dose, intermittently, up it a little bit, intermittency, up it a little bit, and then keep building on doses until I got to a sweet spot. Well, I got up as high as 80 milligrams and I still felt really good. And I thought, okay, that's high enough. I'm going to hang out here for a little while. And it didn't take very long. It was like 2 weeks. And I noticed as I was taking my last dose of the day, which is 20 milligrams all at once. So I had 20, 20, 20, 20. I was taking 4 doses in a day. I'd get to that last one. I didn't feel so good. I went, okay, so I'll drop that dose. So then I was taking 60. Again, it only took about a week, maybe 10 days. And I'd get to that last dose in the day and it was like, no, I don't feel so good. So I dropped another one and I was trying to space out 40 a little bit over the day. And then I got to the same problem where the last dose just wasn't any good. So long story short, my own maintenance dose is about 5 milligrams, but I don't take it every day. And even though biotin is supposed to have a short half-life in the body, and it's also water soluble, it turns out that we can actually have some reserves of it in the body. So now, it's really hard to get a capsule that doesn't have a lot of stuff in it at less than 5 milligrams. So I have a 5 milligram capsule and I take it once or twice a week. So it's very interesting how the body can give you some pretty clear signals once you've got yourself kind of stabilized, you've got some good basics going in, and particularly if you've also had a chance to be, I'm going to say, at least able to see the difference between dumping and not dumping. Some people are so unwell as they start lowering oxalate, they can't tell any difference between a low oxalate day and a high oxalate day, or a dumping day and a non-dumping day. So the better able your body is to give you a clear signal so that you know what's going on, the more likely we just use your body and what it says as to what your right dose is. So if you're on the way up side of things, then really what you want to do is look for when you add the next dose and you see no more improvement, because then you're probably at your sweet spot and you might even be able to back down to the previous dose, because if you saw no improvement between the previous dose and adding another one, then you're probably where you should be. And then some of this can be kind of nuanced because we're looking for if the body starts to signal we don't need as much of this anymore. We should always back any of these things up with testing wherever we can get it. Some nutrients are hard to test for, but that said, getting straight ahead blood tests for various vitamin and mineral levels in your bloodstream can be helpful.